Hey everybody, this is John Renner, your stuttering drummer from JMFR Drums. So what I intend to do with this video is to give y'all some tips and advice on how to keep yourself safe. We're neck deep in summer and it's hot out there. So no matter what your gig is, if you're playing the back patio of a bar, if you're in a covered stage, if you're literally just setting up in the middle of a parking lot somewhere, whatever the case is, we need to stay safe and we need to continue to have fun. Okay, so let's go through some of the obvious things that we all expect and know when we deal with being outside. Sunglasses! Sunglasses. They're self-explanatory. We all know what they do. We all know why they were invented, at least I think. And they're there to keep the sun out of our eyes. Go get yourself a pair. You can get a decent pair for 10-15 bucks, or you could even get one for free if you go to some sort of function or whatever the case is. Just get a pair, okay? Come on. Hats! Alright guys, hats. Self-explanatory along with the sunglasses. They help protect our head, our scalp. You know, depending on the hat, you can get some extra shade. They come in all makes, all models, all styles. Whatever the case is, grab something for your head. Especially if you have thinning hair, if you're bald. You know, if you don't like hats, if you're not a hat person, that's fine, get a bandana. I love bandanas. The long, short, protect your head, go get something. So when I was a kid, there was a song that was on the radio a lot, and it started out with, wear sunscreen. And it was a graduation speech, and the guy gave a few minutes of advice, and then at the very end he goes, but I'm serious about the sunscreen. Well, I'm going to be that guy. Wear sunscreen. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific brand. I don't care what brand you use. I prefer 70 SPF and sport. My suggestion, no less than 50 SPF, and it has to be sport. We will be sweating a lot out there, and the sun is going to be bearing down on you pretty hard. The sun is trying to kill you. Don't let it win. Wear sunscreen. Now, say you have a gig that's later in the day, maybe music starts around 8 o'clock. Apply when you first get there, when you start to set up, and depending on how low the sun is in the sky, apply one more time after your first set. Again, you'll be sweating, so it's not a bad idea to reapply after your first set. After that, I'm assuming at that point the sun's below the horizon, you have nothing to really worry about. Now let's say you have a gig that's in the middle of the day. Just apply more frequently. When you first get there, and between every set. Again, keep yourself safe. Sunscreen can go a long way. Sports sunscreen, no less than 50. Don't care what brand you use as long as it works. Towels! I suggest you bring 2 towels with you at all times. You have your smaller one, and you have your larger one. Small towel. Now, your smaller towel you're going to use for the actual gig itself. Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Wipe your face down, wipe your hands and your arms down. This is actually really important for when you have to use a laptop. Let's say you're in a band that uses backing tracks or sound effects and you have to pull it up off of a laptop. A wet, sweaty hand's not going to work on that little mouse pad. Just wipe your hands down, good to go. Big towel. So there's a couple things that you could use your big towel for. One is obviously to wipe yourself down once the show's done. Duh. The other is to actually protect some of your gear. The kit that you see behind me has a vinyl wrap around it. And I remember last summer I actually had a gig that was on top of a hill and the evening sun was really beating down on it. and I noticed on one side of my bass drum, the vinyl wrapping was starting to warp a lot. When that happens, and it happens too often, that vinyl wrap will crack. So what I did was I took my big towel and I just laid it across my bass drum. Problem solved. So the long short is, in the words of Towley, don't forget to bring a towel. So hey, something real quick, real easy, pair of gloves. If your kit's out in the sun for extended period of time, anything that's metal will be hot. We're talking cymbals, your hardware, the hoops. If you're helping other people pack up, PA speakers, guitar amps, keyboard amps, anything metal, it's gonna be warm. So it's not mandatory, but it's not a bad idea if you're gonna be handling all of that. Help your hands, protect your hands, get a pair of gloves. Close! So this is a little self-explanatory. If you don't have a dress code and you don't really care necessarily what you look like when you do a gig, wear what is comfortable for you. Standard tank top and camo shorts can go a long way. Or let's say you have a dress code. Like say if you're doing a wedding, you're doing a corporate gig, or maybe your band has a shtick, you know, and you have to dress up. Or let's say you're doing a car show and you have to wear the bowling shirts, you know, and you just gotta look good, you gotta look the part. You may want to go the extra mile and invest in something that wicks out sweat. I would suggest shirt and underwear. Your back and your butt will thank you. If you can't afford that, I understand sometimes they can get a little expensive. Maybe consider buying other things in bulk. You know, just get a bulk shipment of just plain white tees, or maybe you can get cheap button-down shirts so that when you wear them X amount of times, you wash them, they start to get ratty, dingy, change colors on you, maybe start to fray, throw them out, get a new set. Really though, the end-all be-all is to be comfortable and look good doing it. Fans! Not those fans. But seriously though, get yourself a fan. This bad boy cost me, what, 20 bucks? You can get bigger ones, the industrial ones for say 30. You can get a legit blower and those can go all the way up to, I don't know, 80 bucks. I mean, that's on you. As long as the air moves and you're looking good and feeling good, whatever. Fan, get one. Let's get hydrated! This is going to be quite possibly the most important part of this entire video. The only other part of this video that is just as important is sunscreen. But life will suck, but you can survive without sunscreen. You probably will get a sunburn and it'll be painful and awful. This next part revolves around hydration. And it is incredibly important that you stay hydrated, especially in the summer months. So, a few tips before we get started. I personally like to keep all my drinks by my lead bass drum foot, which is my right foot underneath my first floor tom. It's ergonomically so easy to just bend down and pick up a bottle of water. My personal bare minimums is no less than 3 bottles of water, and I keep those on me at all times for every single gig. No matter what the gig is, no matter what time of year, always 3 bottles of water. So another tip is that wherever you're playing, get water for free as often as humanly possible. Let's say you're in a 5-piece, go up to the bar, go up to whoever's handling you, whatever, you know, service attendant is working with you, ask them for 2 pitchers of water, and 5 cups. That water is meant for you while you're setting up. Anything that you buy and you put next to you, that's for playing and playing only. You paid money for that. That's meant for when you are playing your gig, when you're playing your music. Anything else, get for free. Get it from the bar. The whole point is that you have enough water to drink when you're playing. If you have no more to drink while you play, you can have some serious issues with discomfort, muscle cramps, etc., 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 etc. Now let's look at the different things that can help us stay hydrated. There's the obvious, water. As I said before, no less than 3 bottles. I don't care where you are, what it is, and what you're doing. No less than 3 bottles of water. Drink it when you play. Now, Pedialyte. So a lot of the gigs that I've been doing have been 3 5-hour gigs, and they're not necessarily the most intense. They're just long. I find that with the Pedialyte, it keeps me hydrated for a prolonged period of time without necessarily sitting in my gut. If it's good enough for a baby, it's good enough for you. Now that said, I'm not against Gatorade, Powerade, whatever sports drink you prefer. I'm not against that at all. I'm just saying, for me, doing the prolonged playing, I prefer Pedialyte. I use Gatorade for whatever sports I do, or if I'm doing a really heavy, thrashy show for a long time, that's when I step it up and I get a sports drink. So again, it's all preference, whatever works. For my longer gigs, I tend to gravitate towards Pedialyte. For my really intense gigs, I go for Gatorade. So let's say you don't want any of that and you want another option. Pickle juice! Okay, so fun fact, I grew up in the Northeast and pickle juice wasn't a thing. I didn't even know. Or maybe it was and I didn't even know that it was a thing. I moved down here to Central Texas and it's everywhere, and I had no idea what it was or what the point of all of it was. It wasn't until I read an article where they were interviewing Vinnie Paul, rest in peace, and he says that he drinks pickle juice all the time, and that's when I really started to look into it. And it makes perfect sense too, because, you know, it's high in salt, it's got potassium, it's got almost everything that Pedialyte or Gatorade would have. So why not? Give it a shot. It's good too. Okay, so last but not least, I want to talk about being comfortable after you're done. So let's say you had a great gig, you know, the crowd loved you, you're packing up the van, and you smell. You're stinky, you're sticky from all the sweat, and you just feel gross. Bathing in the bar sink isn't necessarily an option at this point, and you're not going to get home for a while. What do? Baby powder and baby wipes. So this is a true story. I toured for a hot minute with these guys, and I guess none of us knew because after the first couple stops, man, that van got ripe and pretty bad really fast. It's kind of funny looking back on it now. Yeah. And there were points to where we would openly complain about how bad each other smelled. And, you know, we would call up whoever we knew within the general vicinity, friends, family, whoever, just to have a shower. You know, we didn't have enough money to get to the Y. We didn't have enough money to get a hotel room. So pretty much that was a very stinky time. Yeah, don't suggest it. And once I learned this, my mind was blown, and it was the greatest thing I've ever learned for, you know, life on the road. It was amazing. So let's say your drive home is well over an hour, or you're on the road, you're on tour right now. You don't know when your next shower is going to be. You don't know if you're going to be able to take a bath from the sink in the bar bathroom. It's been done. Basically, you know, wipe yourself down with some wipes. You'll feel like $1,000,000 afterwards, you know, compared to how you were. Step it up a notch, splash on some baby powder, and you're feeling good, baby. It's not going to replace a beautiful hot shower by any means necessary, but it'll definitely hold you over, and it won't make you as offensive if you just did nothing. And that's it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and giving your time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw and you want to see more. And also, don't forget to throw a comment down below. Let's keep the conversation going, you know? Did I do something that you don't necessarily agree with? Is there something different you would have done? Are there things that I forgot? You know, the whole point of this video is to make sure that y'all stay safe. Heat stroke, dehydration, you know, any of that, it's not fun. And if you've ever suffered from it, you know that it's not fun. So I really want to make sure that this remains an open dialogue. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys soon.